and where does that mission kind of benefit and where does that kind of come from?
Great. And we're going to have one last question quickly, and then we'll hopefully get through a couple of the questions because I know there's a few rattling about there. So what resources are available for someone looking to build a mission-led company, and what advice would you give them before they do it, basically?
Okay, shall I start that?
Tony, start, yep.
So I think there's lots and lots of information out there to help you. Probably where I'd start, though, is with your peers. So talk to your peers. What have they done? How have they built businesses? What has worked for them? There are lots of other people, as I say, out there who are building mission-led businesses. Ask someone in front of you how they did it. If you can't do that, there's lots on the web. One of the resources I found quite helpful is a US-focused B Corp organization that I'm sure many in the room have heard about. B Corps. Started in the US. Businesses all across the world are starting to adopt the policies and principles of a B Corp. We don't have B Corps here officially, although you can be one, but you can't incorporate one from a legal sense. But there's lots on the website about B Corps that can help you understand how to run the business, the principles you should apply, etc. The other thing I would say, which is homegrown, that has been very useful, a couple of years ago, in response to the government's report on mission, they put out a proposal called Purposely. Purposely is about how you help limited companies structure themselves in a way that can be done for good. And the government quite smart about it. They came up with 4 different models, starting with very light. It's a light touch. If you want to do some good, then you can, but there's nothing in your organizational structure that's binding you to do it, through to something that looks much more like a charity where there's an asset lock built into the limited company structure, and grades in between. Really useful stuff, really useful guidance, and something that actually, if you're talking to an advisor, you can point them to and say, actually, this is the kind of thing I'd like to try and achieve.
Yeah, and there are some other great organizations, so people like Social Enterprise UK, who actually offer advice for companies which are looking to operate or are operating as social enterprises. There are lots of free resources out there, so we actually made use of organizations like Trust Law, who offer free legal advice for not-profits and charities, so to help us with when we were having some queries about, can we take on, for example, people who are being processed as refugees? Can we bring them on board doing internships, work experience, those types of things? So lots of different things that you can kind of tap into. And I think just from an organizational level, and I think this is has been particularly helpful for us, I think, as a social mission company. We ran a human-centered design workshop really, really early on to really pin down what is our mission, and then everything can hang off that. So trying to understand what are we trying to achieve in the world, and then to think about what are the 101 different ways that you can do that, and then select which are the most appropriate considering what we had as time, strategy, money, resources, human resource. So to really think very carefully about how do you pick that one mission which will keep you honest and be your religion as you sort of create everything else around it.
Can we park your answer just so we get one question in before we go? So quickly, quick fire, where did you get the inspiration for your companies? Really quick.
Really quick. So again, my inspiration came from my background. So I was actually at the University of Florida on a full track and field scholarship, and I wasn't performing the way I wanted to perform. And as an athlete, you're very inwardly focused. You're not really thinking about anything else. You're very selfish. It's about you and your performances. But when I was out there, I was able to see more than just my performance, and meet so many talented individuals that made me feel like, okay, if we connected as a community around the globe, maybe we can solve some of our own problems. So at this time, Black Lives Matters was happening, police brutality, knife crime, diversity inclusion in workplaces. There was so much negative press and news, and I knew that I knew a lot of talented individuals, that this doesn't have to be the narrative that's portrayed on the community. So it was at that moment that I decided, okay, well, I need to do something about it, because who will? So that was the moment it happened, and everything just led from there to where we are.
Thank you. I think we're just about to run out of time, but the panelists might be around afterwards for a couple of questions. I've got to dash off to the Q&A stage, shameless plug, so if you want to come and see me on the Q&A stage, I'll be talking about how you can build a global startup from the start. So thank you very much to my panelists for an excellent conversation, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and have a nice lunch.